weekend. I'm sorry. Um,
I just started recording so that we could continue to hear your wise wisdom.
Yeah.
It's really good.
It came up and I said, did I do something? Yeah, I'm sitting here looking. I saw 2018.
I've done it before that, like at least 2017.
That must be when oh yeah, here they are, 2017. So yeah, I've been doing them since day one.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Wow. Cool. Man, I feel old. Okay, so anyway, all I do is I say meet at this park. So Monday, it's normally our park here, Cool Creek Nature Center, and we have a nature play area. Then it's not your, what do you call it, traditional playground. It's more of a wooded thing that we created a few years ago. And volunteer groups add to it when they come, like big groups. So anyway, we just show up there. Pretty much rain or shine, unless there's lightning, of course, or thunder. I bring hula hoops, sidewalk chalk, those pretty round plastic balls that you can get at Walmart in a bag. You know what I'm talking about? They're about yay big, like ball pit balls. I should have brought some in here to show you guys. I'm in the office. Bubbles and pinwheels. I let the kids do what they want with them. Sometimes they play with them, sometimes they don't. And it's so fun to see their imaginations, what they do. Because we get all ages, because we don't put an age restriction on it. We don't put a registration on it, even with COVID, because we're outside. And so I let them know I'm going to be there from 10 to noon, but they're welcome to come earlier. They're welcome to, I say pack a picnic lunch. I'm not going to eat with them. I'm going to start packing my stuff up and get out of there, around noon and get back to the home base. But yeah, so Cool Creek on Mondays, typically. Tuesdays, one of our other parks is Claire on the other side of the county, because we're county parks, so we're spread out all over the place. So it's a different park each day, and normally we're meeting at the playgrounds, with the exception of this year. I added our largest park at Strawtown Kotewee. And I asked the Taylor Center if they wanted to get involved, because we actually have a nature/history center up there. They said, yeah, that'd be fun. I said, you guys only have to do one day. And I said, I can get out of your way. I said, I'll bring the stuff if you want me to. I'll be there. But I said, they do things like atlatl throwing and Native American games and pioneer games and cool stuff like that. And I said, you're just playing, And I've done field trips with them up there, so I know some of those stations. So they're excited. And I said, I'll just get out of your way. I do like to have the stickers. Some people want them though, some people don't. I bring our parks chatterbox. It's up there, but the newsletter. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just the newsletter, 8.5 by 11, because we put it out 3 times a year instead of 4. And yeah, because a lot of times they love having that. I'll bring maps of that park if anybody wants them. And they're good the year, the following years, everything, if they don't get used up. I just keep it all packed up in a box. Some of it I put back so other of my colleagues can use them for their programs throughout the rest of the year, because I just use that stuff for that week. But it's fun, it's easy, it's laid back, sometimes I'll sit down on the sidewalk and start chalking, and that'll get some of the kids to start chalking. The balls have been the most fun though. The kids are so creative, because all of our playgrounds and our parks are all very different. They've got different themes, and different kids will do different things with those balls. And there's so many of them they can share. These kids could take so many. Oh, and I have buckets. I forgot about, you got to have buckets, because a couple of playgrounds have sandboxes. And the kids will just, like I said, they'll play with whatever they are. It's just kind of laid back. I'm there for questions. I have a short hike planned for each one. Some years we do it at that park, some years we don't, or sometimes half of us go off and we do the little short hike, and the rest of them just want to stay and play. Because you're not going to rip a kid off the playground. Not a good idea, because they're outside. So
no, and
yeah,
I
just keep
that
it simple.
Flexibility of it. Yeah, I love that flexibility. It is a time to play and let it be child-led as much as possible. And that doesn't mean we can't have some structured activities, but leaving it kind of open-ended, like you mentioned, really goes a long way. So
definitely.
Thanks. Did you have more suggestions or ideas? I kind of jumped in, sorry.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, just keep it simple. You know, I mean, I think when you get it complicated, it stresses you out, and the kids pick up on that. And I don't know, just keep it simple. We've even played on playgrounds in the rain because it was a soft rain. It was real pretty to hear it. And everybody pretty much stayed. Some of the kids started playing in the puddles that formed in some of the little areas. And the moms are pretty cool. They're pretty laid back.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm not sitting there going, oh, don't get your hands dirty. You know, I'm just kind of like, cool, you know, and they just relax. And some of the moms talk to me. Sometimes they're on their phones. A lot of times they play with the kids. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
The hula hoops, they try to do it. I had a little girl, she's a little bit older. She took the hula hoops and she made a game. I'd never seen this before. And she just lined them up and you had to step within the hoop. We had some that at the nature play area, they were standing on the thing they climbed up. They were these wooden logs that we put all together. They climbed the top and you had to climb. They made these up, not me. And they threw the ball into this old tree that we had moved over there because it was hollow on top. And you could see them come out the bottom. And of course, half the time they missed. But it was just hilarious to watch the moms and the kids. And sometimes I join and sometimes I don't. You know, it just depends. You just kind of, you get the feel of it. But yeah, that's what Sarah said. She goes, keep it simple. I learned that in Cub Scouts and Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts and all that. Keep it simple and just have fun with it and go with the flow kind of a thing. And that's been so much easier on me because I'm one of those, I want to make things all cool and complicated and 50,000 different things. And that can be fun too, but sometimes it's nice to just relax.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Oh, I'm sorry. One more thing too. Each of those places, there's restrooms nearby because that's very necessary for moms and kids and dads. Yeah. So
checking out our facilities and making sure we've just kind of got the logistics of some of those things is important. So I appreciate you kind of just giving us an opener to just some of the ideas and things and ways it can be just very simple. And I'm always inspired with what children do with their environment and some simple things. Like you mentioned the balls, and I'm like, oh, I've got some of those. I should bring those in to some of the things that I do sometime soon. But with each, like I'm thinking of the slides and the games they were making up with the logs and things, there's so many opportunities with it. We do have a little bit of a presentation conversation kind of go around with this, just some logistics on how to host a nature play day. Mindy and Annette, I know both of you have some things to share too. Would you like to share that now or would you like to share it later? It's up to you. We can be flexible with things.
I'm good. You throw me in whenever you want.
Okay. And Annette, I don't see you, but
I'm here. I'm here.
Okay.
I'll come in whenever you need me. I'm
Okay.
good. I'm okay to be on for about another 20 minutes.
Okay. You know what? I'll get started and let you talk a little bit in between. And as people have questions throughout this, please feel free to speak up, put them in the chat, or we're a smaller group and we are recording this, but you are welcome to, like it's fine for us to have a conversation with the people that are here, if that makes sense. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen real quick. And just kind of give you kind of a quick orientation to Indiana and Children Nature Network. How many of you, this is the first time kind of interacting with Indiana Children Nature Network? I know that many of you are on the steering committee for the organization, or they've hosted nature play days and things like that. But is there anyone that's just kind of brand new? And it's fine to out yourself or not, that's really up to you, but just kind of want to share that. I'm the host today. I am the ICAN coordinator and greatly appreciate, like you'd mentioned earlier, Sarah Kempfer and the many, many others that are on the steering committee and have made this work before. This is some of the stuff that I do. But as far as things that we're going to look at today, it's just like an introduction to ICAN. What are those nature play days? Who can host it? You know, some of that organization and planning, registering, considerations for it, activity ideas, if you might want to partner or sponsor with others, how you might promote it, some things to do after the event, and then just some experiences and questions and answers with it. So ICAN, that's how we usually call it shortly, it's Indiana Children Nature Network. It is part of a larger organization, the Environmental Educators Association of Indiana, and we're grateful for their sponsorship and support with this. And I love that this brings it down to state-specific resources here in Indiana and surrounding counties that make it easier for us to do this. A couple of initiatives that we have are the Nature Play Days that we're talking about today, the ICAN Play 30, and promoting some of our natural play spaces and some of those things. And really that mission that we're looking at is really just kind of fostering those relationships with that connection with the outdoors. So we can do that by raising awareness in promoting that unstructured play and time outdoors, and really kind of engaging a diverse network. And hopefully with more of these opportunities online, we can get people throughout this day and also have different players hosting nature play days and just encouraging nature play in general. So yeah, that's just kind of in a nutshell what ICAN does. But as far as nature play days, I am so excited that some of the people that were organizing this in the past really put together some things around nature play days. It's a way to combat nature deficit disorder, like Richard Louv talks about. It gives just an opportunity to kind of say, hey, let's get started with play this summer. It's that jump start with nature play. And we can understand and experience new parks. I know that there's one place that I host at often that most people like, oh, I knew it was here, but I've never been here. And so that's a great way to get people to explore, you know, these 10 acres of nature right in the middle of the city that's nearby, but they just had, for whatever reason, never explored before. And then it also helps that habit of playing outside. And it's just that statewide kind of camaraderie in doing it together. Who can host a play day? Parks, schools, churches, neighborhoods, institutions like zoos, community organizations. Someone mentioned like a historical museum. That's a great idea. I'm thinking about our local one. I'm like, and really anyone can host a nature play day anywhere. It can be libraries, it can be schools, it can be a nature preschool, it can be anywhere. Even you can do it. So as far as organizing one, it can be more structured or it can be more freeform, kind of fitting your needs. I find that sometimes coming into it, that some of the participants are a little reluctant, like they're like, I know I'm supposed to be here for this nature play thing, but I'm not quite sure what to do. So sometimes having people there to kind of greet them and say, hey, here are a few options, but this is nature play. So follow the child's lead, do what's good for you. But having a few structured activities or guided things just to kind of get started can be helpful, but it doesn't have to be like major or anything like that. But having areas that are open for free play really helps with that exploration, imagination, creativity, and really consider partnering with others. I find that I'm an individual that goes into other places and partners with a local park system and host parks play days there. And so I just have built up connections, and I can typically send them an email. Hey, I was thinking about holding a nature play day this date. And like, sure, Carla, we'd love for you to do that. And then really think about, who are we trying to attract? Who could most benefit from it? I've mentioned sometimes that we should just go where all the people are, like right after soccer practice at the soccer fields, or wherever it may be. So who could benefit the most from time in nature, and how can we encourage those people to be there? That may be, considering transportation needs, and then make sure that it's free and open to all. And it's up to you if you require pre-registration or not. And there's different reasons why you might or might not. And then share how you can continue that experience at home. Like Holly had mentioned that they have the Chatterbox, the newsletter. And so that has information about future events. Or we've got pamphlets locally, 52 things to do outside before you grow up. We give those. And then also like the bookmarks and things for ICAN, just so that they can get connected with that as well. As far as doing this, just kind of deciding, we have this time frame of June 4th through 12th, but think about where you want to do it and where you might do it. So if you've had other successful programs, build on that. You know, you can really do that. And so I'm going through and thinking about different places I've hosted. And I know that actually, like at our botanical gardens, that's where I've had the most people. And that can really make an impact. And I try to do it on the free day for the botanical garden, so there's fewer barriers for people to get there. It's a centralized location, and I really think I need to touch base with them and say, hey, can we come back and do this again? So yeah, Nature Play Day. You can really do any type of location because nature happens everywhere. It could be an empty lot even. And yeah, you can even do nature scavenger hunts in most urban spaces. You can kind of transform the area a bit just by bringing in some shallow tubs for walking in mud or making mud pies. We love like mud day as well, which is kind of cool. And then you might have seen before, but I love loose parts. And so they allow for different types of construction and art projects anywhere. And nature often provides lots of loose parts, just like our sticks and foliage and things like that are on the ground and such. But with concentrating them in these nature play day times, it allows us to help kind of with that promotion, and it starts with the summer of that push to get outside. As far as registering, once you know, hey, I'm doing this, you've kind of figured out some dates and stuff, you just go to the ICAN website and you just go to the Nature Play Days here, and there's a drop down button for the Nature Play Day registration. You put your contact information and all the information, the website, the social media, some of those kinds of things, so that we can make sure that we get you on the map as hosting this year. So that's there. As far as like considerations, I really like to consider the different weather possibilities, and I try to host at a place that has something covered in case of rain. And sometimes it's been kind of touch and go on that day. We might have had to postpone something, or you know, we're watching the thunderstorms are past, and yes, it's okay to be outside again, but think about the drainage of the site. If there is a lot of rain, I know locally we've got a lot of flooding just with all the rain we've had recently. So think about that. And as Holly mentioned before, bathrooms, access to water. People are going to get hot, especially as we get closer to summer and some of these days. So having access to water is really nice for that. And just, you know, is there enough parking for it, or nearby parking that people can go to? As you know, think about how people will come in. Accessibility, can a wide variety of people access that? Is it easy to get to and to use? I also try to make sure that I always have a first aid kit with me. Saying that, I have never used it, but I want to know that we do have some basic skills and just some basic supplies if we need them, kind of thing. I also firmly believe in recruiting volunteers. Groups like Indiana Master Naturalists are a great organization to look for volunteers, but also just within our volunteer groups, and then those partnerships that we do, they can be great for that as well. The volunteers might be helping children get comfortable and settled as they get there, and then allow, and families, I guess, then allow the families to direct their own experience. And I think that this is really important, but just training volunteers on that importance of nature play and how to communicate information with parents. I know I've done like short, like 5-minute videos just on like our ethos of nature and nature play as part of that. I'm going to go ahead and stop share, and I'm going to ask Annette to share with us a little bit. So.
Thank you, Carla. So I do something called the Gnomes Day Out Fairy Festival, and it falls right there in that wonderful week of ICAN play days. So my festival runs 6 or 7 hours usually. This will be our 6th year. We lost one for COVID. But the concept is a little bit of a fundraiser, but as an Isaac Walton League of America, our main mission is to get families outdoors. My particular Isaac Walton doesn't have a gun range or a boat launch or a clubhouse. We're all conservation. So all year long, I'm doing STEM with the older kids at the river. We have counting butterflies, collecting seeds for habitat, all kinds of things There's sometimes for the older group. So we came up with this idea of the Fairy Festival because we wanted to engage even younger children. You've touched on a lot of things that we're up to, the free play, nature arts and crafts, following maps, that are just all led with pictures so kids can find cool things in nature that they might not have seen before. Lots of pretending. Our biggest thing is the dress up. So we invite you and say, come as you are, or dress as your best fantasy character. So that puts mom and dad in role playing. It gets kids to put on their ears and their crowns and their wings. If you show up without wings, we put wings on you so that your imagination can just go nuts with that. And of all the characters that I put into the thing are volunteers. I found that grabbing volunteers from the local middle school, I'm also a K through 8th grade art teacher. So I've got lots of young ladies and some boys at my disposal to drag into my crazy way. But we find that, then they have more experience when it's their turn to be a babysitter. It's just a win-win-win for everybody. And those middle schoolers will get down on the ground and dig in the sand and all the kinds of things that we want the kids to do. And they just follow what the kids are up to. Some of our things are more structured, but most of them are, you walk up to it and you can kind of do whatever you want with it. You want to try the bow and arrow. You want to try the sand table with the little gnomes and the fairies to build your own little village. We've got lots of different things going on during the day. So the dress up is our favorite part because it gets everybody thinking that they're a nature spirit and they're already imagining what's going to happen before they get there. Probably already talked about it with mom and dad in the car on the way. What are we going to do today? Who knows? It's all magical. So those are kind of the ways that I've been going at this thing for the little ones.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I love that you encourage that imaginative play as part of it. I love your ears.
That's just the beginning.
and
I
will
thing is,
go ahead.
We shrink them. When they get to the main gate, we shrink them to fairy size. So once they enter the village, everything around them is gigantic. We say, well, we don't want you to get stepped on. You have to be the size of us. So we shrink them, they say the magic words, and then everything around giant flowers, giant animals, all of us are dressed as fairies, that's supposed to be the normal size. Mm-hmm. So that just puts them into this immersive experience. And it's just outside in a park, glammed up with some canopy tents and some fancy colors.
I have hosted like a fairy day kind of thing. There's an international fairy day. And just having fabrics even where people can fashion them about to make their own characters. I use those in all kinds of settings and it becomes, that fabric just transforms into den building or carrying things. It's just very versatile, or costumes, or I have some really long fabrics and it becomes all kinds of something turning into a butterfly. They'll show me the life cycle of a butterfly with it and such. And so just useful in lots of different ways. So yeah, thank you so much. Do you have other tips or anything that you'd like to share with it?
Those are the two things, the dress up, because it doesn't have to be fairies. It could be Wild West, it could be pirates, anything that gets your imagination already flowing. And then when you're presented with a bunch of nature, how do you tie those things together? Well, let the kids make that up. Yeah. And the other thing was how important, or at least for me, how important it is to have those volunteer young people that, they're not clouded over like I am, and they're not the wee ones either. They can help lead a little bit. So yeah.
And kind of along that line, I've hosted like pop-up adventure play days as part of this as well. And I'll just bring like cardboard boxes and stuff like that. And I'm busy, setting up all this junk play, this stuff. And I'll have high school or middle school volunteers. And like, hey, can you make it start to look like someone's been playing with this? That gets two things done for me. It gets teenagers playing, and it gives other kids an idea, oh, I can just keep building on this, so I think that's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm going to go ahead and just share a little bit more with this, and then we'll get to Mindy as well. And okay, so different ideas. There are so many things that can be done. Really, water play, getting dirty, mud play, and all of this information is on the website of ICAN. As far as there's a whole host packet for people if it's helpful for them. The mud play, the loose parts play, nature, art, and reflection. There was an initiative with children in Indiana Nature Park. You can do some activities with that. Some guided hikes, bringing in live animal demonstrations. And I always say that live animals always are going to be anything that I can do, like the Fairy House Gnome Building. And even with that, I find that sometimes like I'll have some little small world things, but oftentimes the children feel more connection just when they're finding stuff in nature too. I don't think that there's an either or, but a yes and giving lots of opportunities. As far as having like partners and sponsors with it, I just really kind of think sometimes about, you know, how nature play really benefits a wide range of fields and areas. And so oftentimes we see that it's natural resource providers that are hosting these nature play days. But if we can partner with other people that have that connection that we need, so think about those missions and causes that may be helpful for promoting outdoor play. For example, I just heard of an organization or group of people that are looking at promoting play just in general in our county. And that would be a great place to introduce these nature play days with those people to get the word out and to have other people as volunteers to come out and see what it's like and see, you know, if they may be interested in that as well. I know that our like local hospitals, oftentimes they have like a health initiative and get healthy programs. So nature play really can build up our opportunities for moving our bodies, but then also lowering our stress and some of those things. So those are great partners with that. Our federal and state agencies that we have, our city and county parks, like I mentioned, I call them up and say, hey, I would love to come and do a nature play day at your organization. And, you know, they know who I am. And if they don't know who I am, I can introduce myself and let them know what I'm doing and build that relationship and work together with them as well. And then, you know, there's youth organizations that we have, Boys and Girls Club and such. And really, when we're having partners and sponsors, it opens up more volunteers. It gives us additional publicity because more channels are sharing it and talking about it, and it increases that impact. Oftentimes they can help with things like advertising. They might have monetary things, support for giveaways or other options as well. As far as talking with them, just having some information like National Wildlife Federation resources, there are a lot of information there, and Children in Nature Network, they have a news center. These are a little bit outdated, but finding a recent article, if you need help with that, we're more than welcome to share some resources that would be helpful with that. But just saying, hey, this is what's going on. And people are concerned about children being on electronics 9 hours a day, you know, and that they're inside most of the time. And so most people are like, yes, what can I do to help? You know, so just kind of painting that picture of how we're moving largely indoors and more structured activities for our children. And that by having these nature play days, it can be very helpful with that. As far as promoting, go ahead and create these events on social media as part of what you do. And please, this is a really big ask here, but if you can make Indiana Children Nature Network a host, tag us in your promotions, and that lets us know when they're happening. You can even make us a host like on your Facebook events, and we'll go through and accept, and then we can kind of have a collection of those events in one place, and we can help cross promote and see all of these wonderful and great nature play things that are happening. As far as local promotion, that's going to be up to you how you do it. I find that social media works really well for me, even locally. Think of your Facebook and your Instagram, your Twitter. Also ask friends and organizations to share, and people that have come to past ones, or, you know, I'm finding that there are more and more like regional nature play groups. Those are great places to share them. There's 1,000 Hours Outside Indiana, which would be another great place. if you print out flyers, your stores, your doctor's offices, your libraries, and you might have your partners put it in their newsletters and on their websites. And also consider press releases. I know that when I have sent press releases out, that I've usually been contacted by the news, and they usually show up and do a small segment on nature play days. I'm like, why are you hosting nature play days? Why do we need this? And so they'll get some footage of the children playing and all those things. And that just reaches a broader audience and such. So I would suggest doing one earlier on, but then follow up a week beforehand, then also 3 days before the event as well. And as part of this, I really encourage people to share about ICAN at your nature play day. And ICAN has a lot of resources that we can share. On the website, there are flyers, bookmarks, and other materials that you can just download. We've got ICAN logos that you can download. We have a hashtag that can be used in any of the social media things, ICAN Nature Play Day. And we've got printables with that as well, as you can see here. We've got social media frames and banners. And if you need some decals and stickers, we do have some available. You can email us at npd@indianachildrennature.org. And I spelled that wrong because that's not how you spell children. Sorry about that. But so we do have a lot of resources, and I encourage you to make ICAN a focus as part of that, just to be part of that statewide initiative. And I liked how Holly had mentioned earlier about how she just keeps stuff in a box that she can use year after year kind of thing. I'm always looking for my printouts. I'm like, where did I put that again? But I did want to just kind of share that we do have all of these resources on the website. So when you go up to the tab, you'll want to go to Nature Play Day resources. And then there's the host packet resource, host resource packet, the flyers, promotions, and logos, social media items, and then some activities and some success that people have found with nature play days as part of that. And then as part of that promotion, I think sharing the fun and the photos, I call it normalizing outdoor play. Let's just hey, share pictures of it. Encourage participants themselves to document the photos and share them on social media. Photos, that's a great reminder of a great day and an inspiration to get outside again soon. I, looking back on my memories in social media, I'm like, oh yeah, that was a fun day. We should go visit that park again. Use that hashtag, invite the local media to your event. And sometimes even when things are slower, it seems like, even if I create a public event, I've had people message me, hey, can we come meet you at 5 o'clock in the morning to tell us about this nature play day or whatever. I prefer not 5 in the morning, but sometimes I do it. And then you may want to go ahead and get guardian permission with a photo release or signs noting that attendees may be photographed. And technically it's a public space and a public event. So, it's kind of vague. If someone does not want to be photographed, we wouldn't want to take their photos, but just letting people know that it may be used in other places. I did want to share something that I did. Like one of my cousin's daughters was kind of getting her feet wet in photography, and she offered to come to Nature Play Day and take pictures for us. That was so wonderful. So if you can find a volunteer that wants to share their skills in documenting through photo taking, that is a wonderful gift and blessing for your nature play day. And I have found that having those kind of more professional photos, I've been able to use them over and over and over again. And I can focus on what's happening with the children instead of worrying about taking photos the whole time. That doesn't mean I don't take any, but after the event, share your success, promote that event's success to your media list. You might follow up with another press release even, share photos and details from the day and ways to continue that nature play. It's not a one-time event, but let's keep the conversation around nature play happening all year long. You can also share with some of your partners just a short blurb for newsletter articles or photos, or just a short info on Nature Play Day success. You can even send them to us as ICAN. We can put them up on our website to share. We will send out a host survey afterwards, and we really appreciate you filling that out just so that we can have some information to reflect back on to continue to improve our Nature Play Days. And we don't have to stop having nature play days just because it's done with the week. We can have nature play all throughout the year. So continue to do that, please. If this is seeming a little bit overwhelming, you're not quite sure about information or whatever, help is always available. And ICAN really is committed to helping you. We have lots of members within ICAN that have, decades of experience working with children in education and event planning. If you need activity ideas or, how can we find types of resources or helping finding volunteers or sponsors, just email us and we can help you work on some of those kinds of things as well. And so, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and let Mindy talk to us a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So, and I'm going to share my screen, and I don't want everyone to feel like, oh my goodness, I can't do this because she is insane about what she
Mindy,
is doing.
I appreciate that you share that it can be small, but it can also be big. And sometimes, we need to see the range of options. And I love that you have good graphics. That's not my thing yet.
No.
So.
And we've taken it quite, all the way to where it's a full-on event for us. So I will say when we started Nature Play Days, we just like everyone else, I think I did 1 or 2 one year and had a lot of interest. And I actually then started to, so, you've talked about reaching out to your community and promotion. And that's really what we ended up doing is that, we are a small department. At the time, I was the only educator for the Parks Department. So trying to do lots of programs, even though I am crazy and do lots of programs, it really was, how can we make this into something without me losing my mind? And so I ended up actually reaching out to a lot of the partner organizations that we deal a lot with. Of course, we're in the town, so reaching out to actually the first couple years, the police and fire department, reaching out to our cultural center, Sullivan Muntz, our solid waste management district and our library. And then it's kind of grown and expanded from there. We have a nonprofit called Maple Lawn Farmstead that has jumped in, and even last year, and we're doing again this year because it was such a success, and we actually are doing multiples throughout the summer. We reached out to our nonprofit farmers market in Zionsville because it was like, where do you go to find people that aren't expecting to go and play outside? And well, the farmers market, it's kind of the thing that everyone does on a Saturday morning in Zionsville. And we showed up with a bunch of materials, like Holly had said. We actually started a program called Park and Play, where we park ourselves someplace and set stuff out and invite people to come play. So we parked and played at the farmers market, and they actually reached back around to us this year and said, we had so much fun. Will you do that every month while the market's going? So we're doing that once a month throughout the entire summer. But so this is kind of we actually did put together a flip book, an issue flip book of everything. And I just kind of wanted to show everyone. So, we do a little more structure than what some people might do, but kind of give you an idea. So last year we had 21 programs. Not all of these were done through the Nature Center or the Parks Department. A lot of these were, again, it's the firefighters, the library, Maple Lawn Farmsteads, that they jumped in and said, yeah, we want to come and play. For ours, a lot of ours are registration, just because if we didn't, we would end up getting 100+ people and it'd be a little overwhelming. So a lot of them we limit, some we don't. Our creek splash, if we didn't do registration, we wouldn't fit in the creek on how many people come through. But I just kind of want to show you the different ideas. So we look at it as, I only have for my partners, we've got kind of a very loose, that as long as the weather is nice, we are outside. If it rains, bad weather, we'll move indoors and still do it. But weather's nice, we're outside. That it has to be free. So no charging of any programs so that anybody can participate. And that it either has to be a nature, a culture, or a rec focus to it. And so, so we bring in play doesn't have to be, even though it's Nature Play Day, we do, the firefighters do kickball and they have done kickball every single year. And they are the first group that contacts me in like January going, when is it? We want to do kickball. It's their best thing that they do. So you can kind of see there some stuff that goes on, tug of war at the fire station, as crazy as it sounds. You can see our park and plays with the farmers market, and then the kind of the general things, going out and doing a bug hunt, doing some art and nature, teddy bear picnic, where that's one where we meet up at one of the parks and everyone brings a picnic and we go on a bear hunt. So yeah, it can kind of be a little bit of everything, but just the thing we noticed over, like Carla had said, the biggest one for us to get people to come out is using social media to its best ability. So making sure that you're creating events for these, that you're trying to find a best resource for us has been trying to find those mom groups on Facebook and just, posting it on moms groups. Hey, we've got this coming up. The other one is that, when you're out there and taking a picture and throwing it up on Instagram, and getting people excited to come out. So I would say we've been doing the full scale one where we have anywhere between 1 and up to 3 programs a day since about 2018. And we've had anywhere from around 300 participants throughout the week to right before COVID hit, we were a little over 800. So last year, unfortunately, the weather was not on our favor. We had a few rain outs because it was just a weird week with the weather, but we're hoping this year that we'll have that kind of that bigger turnaround again. And right now, I think we have 19 programs on the books. I hate that weird number. So yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody has, and you're always welcome to come play in Zionsville. It's my favorite event for the entire year. It really is.
Wow. And what an impact that you have on your community with that. And you have really partnered over the years. And I'm sure the first year you may not have had as many partners, but you've really partnered over the years to find different organizations that I wouldn't really have thought of partnering with. And so kind of thinking of that cross connection of missions and values of, yeah. And I love that, I think you said the police officers just go and play kickball. That's a great way to be outside. Yeah, this makes me excited hearing what you're doing. And you're at a citywide level and you have made this one of your major kind of emphases for the year. And you're seeing a big return in impact levels with it. That is a wonderful thing. And hosting one small nature play day, I've had some that I have 20 people show up and that's it. That's good and valid too. We need all of the play in whatever way it can be. So thank you so much.
No problem.
And what do you mind not sharing so we can just kind of see each other's faces a little bit better?
Turn it off here. If I can
figure it out. I'm like, how does this happen? So we've kind of done a few introductions and things like that, but what kinds of questions and ideas and comments do you have? And even people that have hosted before, as other things kind of came up, would love to hear, additional insight. This is just some time to discuss and see, possibilities. And you might think about, if you're thinking about doing one right now, you might start thinking, okay, these 3 may be a good place. Where do I want to start first? And like Megan had been talking about, well, maybe at my son's preschool, that would be a good place to host something, and she had a couple of other places. So starting to think about some of those places, brainstorming would be a really good place. And I know that some people aren't on video. That's totally fine. You're welcome to put questions in the chat as well if you're available to type. And yeah, Megan, does this give you some ideas? And I know you'll answer me. So so picking on you, but some ideas and direction of how you might move forward with this.
Yeah, tons of ideas. I've been typing in a Google Doc here right next to it. Yeah, I just think it would be, I mean, we're out of school by this time, so I'm thinking it would be something fun to do kind of to kick off the summer, just at the elementary school. So just thinking about the playground and just opening, how, if we would want to do a level of a bit of structure or totally unstructured, or kind of how to mix that together. But just to invite, families and kiddos. And then just thinking about time of the day as well, like late afternoon, evening, just people off work, being able to come and bring their kids. Yeah, could you do a whole day of it and then people come whenever? So kind of what do you tackle to begin with or try out to start?
And I don't think that there's any wrong way to do it. And so you're really going to have to think about, what can you commit to to start with, and then partner for filling in some of those gaps and stuff. I know that I have tried doing it at different times of the day at different places, but I oftentimes will hold not 21 like like Mindy does, but I will usually hold like 4. Just to have different places of the county represented, and then times of the day. So I'll usually do one at the 10 o'clock session. That's before I do, like I have required meetings for work, so I can get a session in there for a couple of hours. I'll try to do one later in the evening. Like you mentioned, people are off work. It's a little bit cool. Sometimes it's a little bit cooler that time of the day. I also do like to be by water features sometimes too. Like there is one park in Goshen that has a little stream and stuff like that I enjoy. There's not as many like built-in playground equipment there. It's more of a natural park area. So I really like that setting. And then I try to have one like 1 o'clock in the afternoon for that kind of in between, like 4 to 10-year-olds. That's a good time after lunch for them to have some time to get outside. But then that 10 o'clock time is oftentimes good for those younger ones. And then the 6 o'clock is good for the whole family. So